right? For sure. Somebody turned me on here.
I got you.
You turned me on?
Yeah, well, that's a little personal. I don't think we should be sharing that with everybody. So.
Well, good morning, everyone. February 1st, 9:01. Good to see everyone. Well, maybe not everyone. All right. Like I said, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Forest Preserve District of Will County Operations Committee meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. Can we invite everyone to stand for the pledge? And I would like to ask Mr. John Fay if you would like to lead us this morning.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Lisa, can we have a roll call?
Dean Schlottman. Here. Balich. Here. Williams. Here. Coleman. Here. Freeman. Here. Berkowitz. Here. Trainier. Pretzel. Here. Van Dyne.
Here.
Also present Treasurer Newquist, Vice President Mueller. We have 8. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the January 4th meeting.
Motion, Freeman. Second.
I think on our agenda, yeah, okay, we're good. I got a first and a second. Is there questions?
Yes.
Okay. Sherry?
In the minutes, it lists me as not voting twice, but I was here and I voted.
Okay. Can we make that adjustment? Okay.
Whoever made the motion to amend it, to approve as amended.
Okay. Who made the original motion? Micah, would you mind making the motion to amend as?
Motion
Is-
to amend.
Motion to approve as amended. Perfect. Thank you.
And seconded was by Katie. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Dean Schlottman. Yes. Balich. Yes. Williams.
Yes.
Coleman. Yes. Freeman.
Yes.
Berkowitz. Yes. Trainier. Pretzel. Yes. Van Dyne.
Yes.
8.
Motion carries. Thank you. Is there any old business to be brought forward this morning? Nothing listed? Nothing? Okay. All right. Moving on to new business. 6 items to consider. Starting with number 1, award of contracts in the amount of $346,191.30 to HGS. Illinois, from Chicago, Illinois, $251,042.50 to Integrated Lake Management Incorporated of Waukegan, $178,955.20 to Davy Resource Group of Elmhurst, $606,016.70 to Natural Resource Management of Beecher for the 2024 Ecological Management Contracts. Looking for a motion? Any discussion? Mrs. Berkowitz, good morning.
I was wondering if Ralph could talk about this a little bit and what the scope of the project is. Thank you.
Sure. So this is a conglomeration of a lot of different contracts spread out across the county. We do this on an annual basis to secure contractors for invasive species management and other activities on forest preserve properties. So these are normal management activities. They're just, and they're done in conjunction with our own staff and volunteers as well. So the focus of these is on our highest quality nature preserve sites as well as any of our restored sites. Excuse me, and the funding comes from a variety of sources, including license fees, farm licenses, our capital improvement program, and our regular C&D or construction and development fund.
So I've volunteered and had a lot of sweat over at Riverview and Hidden Lakes, and I'm very excited at the progress that's been made over there. What about Riverview? Are we still working on that bank over there?
Yes, we are, and it's mostly being done through volunteer projects, but we do have some resource management folks involved as well.
Okay, that'll be good because, you know, we do get a lot of water and a lot of flooding there. And if we can, there's a lot of erosion. In the summer, when you see all the kayakers and the boaters prancing through there, it'll be really good to shore that up. And I think it'll be a little bit safer too.
Yeah, a big part of what we're doing there and what we do in other areas is that when we can remove the invasive species and remove that and get sunlight onto the floor, you know, onto the ground, we can then start to generate or create herbaceous layer, grasses, forbs, and that holds the soil. So it tends to improve or decrease the amount of erosion that's occurring.
And, you know, I'm hoping we'll get some more native trees coming back there as well, because right down the street on 95th near Book, we see a bald eagle hanging out over there, and either one or two, so we know they're around, and we'd really like to give them that, and especially with polo going up.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. It's good to see, and we'll hear about that from at the Conservation Foundation too, with that additional work
Sure.
that we're doing
So
over there.
they'll talk about work along the DuPage River as well, yeah. And so the eagles that you're seeing, the eagles rely on open water to forage for the fish. And so the DuPage River is open water most of the time, as is the Des Plaines, and so we see a lot of bald eagles, or more so now than we did in the past, foraging in and around our preserves along the rivers.
Any other comments or questions? Micah? Good morning.
There we go. So at the Hadley Valley, I noticed that there's going to be a prescribed burn. Is the 99 beside it, is that acres, or it says quantity, it says 99 unit AC. So I thought that's a lot, but what do I know? It's on the first page of the charts. Under other alternatives.
Yeah, so that would be a prescribed burn over 99 of those acres there. That site is about 600 acres that's
Okay.
been restored. So it's what they refer to as a burn unit. So rather than burning an entire site at once, they burn it in sections.
Correct.
And so that's probably just the one that's up. It looks like that the letters there describe Hadley Valley Central West.
Is that mostly prairie
Yes,
area?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I sat in that session, and I'm
Okay.
like totally interested in this now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we good? Is there a previous roll? Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Number one, motion will carry. Number two, award a contract in the amount of $40,000 to Environmental Solutions and Innovations of Indianapolis, Indiana for invertebrate inventories at Goodnow Grove Nature Preserve. We can do previous role, or do you want an explanation now? Sure, Ralph?
Sure. So this invertebrate study is part of our regular monitoring of our sites that are under restoration and management. Goodnow Grove, being a nature preserve, is one where we are out there annually, both ourselves, contractors, and volunteers working on the site. What we do once every 10 years or so is we do a variety of studies. They might be bird studies, or in this case, invertebrate studies, or others. We could do a mammal survey, things of that nature. What we're attempting to do during that is assessing the management techniques that have been in place. Have they improved the condition of the site, or has the site been degraded in some way? And so they use these studies to adjust their management techniques accordingly to, obviously, we're always looking to improve the sites. So if we're making progress, then they know that we're on the right track. And in the case of an invertebrate study, what you're looking at is the breadth of mostly insects that are present on the site. There are several that are in the threatened and endangered categories in the state or even federally. So you're trying to identify, because you have habitat that supports those species, are they there? And if they are, then how do you need to adjust your management techniques? What it also does is it tees us up for grants, specifically habitat grants through the state of Illinois. If we can establish that we do have those certain special species. In the state, they refer to them as species of concern. And if we do have those on site, then your grant applications are brought to the forefront. So that's another reason that we do these studies. But again, it's a regular investment, but it's one that's done once a decade. And you can guess that there's only so many sources of, so many individuals or organizations that are capable of doing these types of surveys. It's typically associated with universities, whether they be state universities like our own in Illinois, or other large environmental groups where they have a niche in this area.
So I have to ask, do they like have a trap that they catch them in? Do they dig a hole to catch the ground ones?
They do they do it in a variety of ways. So in some cases, it's visual observation. They will net, they will trap as well. A lot of times it's just investigations on the soil surfaces, what they're looking for. So they use a variety of techniques depending on the type of insect that they're looking for. Is it a burrower, a crawler, is it a spider? Is it a flying insect? So depending on how they move about, we alter the way in which we look for them.
This is fascinating. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. Dan?
Yeah, does the study include invasive species as well?
It'll document all species, so whether they're native or invasive or non-native, it'll document all of those species.
And then discusses the impact it has on the other like, native
Potentially,
species?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Mark?
So Ralph, you said this is a once-in-a-decade investment, and that there are also a variety of different types of studies along this line that we can do.
Yeah.
So this decade, it's invertebrate species, and 10 years from now, it's going to be mammals? Or when is the next, potential study?
Yeah, so some of the studies we can do in-house, okay? So some of that monitoring is done by our own staff. So we have natural resource managers with a focus on birds. We have some focused on wildlife or mammals. And turtles, yes. So a variety of different expertise in-house. But something like this is kind of beyond the scope of what we can do. Yeah, they can identify certain things, but looking at it as a whole really takes kind of a more concentrated effort than we have the time to do. So the question, but to your question, what we would try to do is an invertebrate study every 10 years. We may do a bird survey every 10 years, and it would be at a different period of time. So sites are constantly being monitored for something and everything, but at these kind of baseline points, we want to try to collect this data at least once a decade. Again, when we're applying management, we want to give it time to work if we think that we're on the right track, and it takes time for an ecosystem to respond.
Got it. And I have two other questions. One's procedural. I'm going to ask the procedural one last. The next one is, you mentioned that there are grants that it sets us up for grant money.
Yeah.
Are there specific grants that we are eyeballing to land with this specific invertebrate species study?
Yes, we look to they call it the State Wildlife Habitat Grant. And so it's given twice a year through the state of Illinois. And what we would do is, based on the results of this study, we would apply for funding through that grant program for management activities. So they don't pay for the surveys, but they pay for the activities to support the ecosystems that those species live in.
And I guess I have a new question based on that response. Is there high likelihood that we land this particular grant that you're talking about?
Yes. So we have I won't say 100% of the time, but maybe 95% of the time we apply for these funds, we receive them.
Okay. Last question. We vote on this as a full board still?
Correct.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is just committee. I don't have a vote here. I'm still debating what my decision will be. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all. Is there any other discussion? Any other questions on item number 2? Looking for a previous roll? Oh, Dan, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, of all the money that we spend, this is probably some of the most worthy money to spend. Is to, you know, I personal belief is it's our job to be caretakers of the world that we live in, and this is an excellent way of doing that and really getting in touch with what's more important. Thank you.
Okay, great. Previous roll? Thank you. And seconded? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Do I need? Okay. Yeah, is there anyone opposed on this item? All right, motion will carry. Okay, before we move on to 3, Julie?
Thank you, Joe. Ralph, I just have a question or a comment. You know, with the encroachment of these solar facilities and battery facilities, we've had a lot of issues. Are there plans to determine the impact that it's having on Goodenow Grove and some of our other preserves? Do we have the ability to take a look at that and find out how that's impacting us?
Do you want to?
Do you want to have a further discussion on this?
Later? Or
Yeah,
now?
let's try to get through the agenda if you don't mind, Julie. And
Yeah.
if we don't get to that today, maybe you can grab Ralph on the side and maybe start some conversation.
Sure, yeah, it's something for the whole board, because these cases keep coming to land use, so,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Number 3, award a contract in the amount of $71,640 to Mill Creek WB of Rosemont for the purchase of wetland credits for the construction of Plum Creek Greenway Trail. Motion? Thank you. I think there's 8 of us, I think, pretty sure. All right, thank you, Katie. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Joe,
Motion will carry.
I'm just curious. I know I keep bringing discussion up into this, but I'm not sure if the newer electeds were aware of the credits, the environmental credits like we're purchasing from, I didn't know if you wanted to touch base on that, because I know when I was a newly elected, I was very confused about what the heck this was.
I guess just really quickly, when we develop a project or the county is building a roadway or, any private entity, private developer is developing property that impacts wetlands in the state, they need to mitigate those wetlands. So the attempt is that there's no net loss, so that the wetlands that we have will be replaced in other areas. That's typically done through wetland mitigation projects. We've been a part of wetland mitigation projects where we have done wetland mitigation on our property to offset a loss on someone else's property. Typically, when we do that, we're working with other government agencies. It could be the state of Illinois. Somebody brought up Hadley Valley earlier. Hadley Valley, there's a large wetland mitigation project there for the construction of I-355, paid for a lot of wetland mitigation on that site. What is mitigation? It's basically turning the land back to what it wants to be. So our lands were once quite wet, and they were drained for agricultural purposes and for other purposes. So when we have a piece of property, an agricultural property, that we can revert back to what it was, back to a wetland, someone else will get the credit for that. In the case of a project like this, where we're building a trail, we're impacting about 0.4 acres of wetland. What is impact? We're covering it up. We're putting a trail on top of it. So we need to offset that. It used to be that we could provide our own mitigation as part of our projects, but that process has become very intensive. And so the state prefers, when we're working with the state's money, that we acquire the wetland or offset our wetlands through a wetland mitigation bank. That's somebody else doing what we did with Hadley Valley. And they're creating wetlands off-site to offset ours. An acre of wetland recreated credit right now is about $170,000. So again, we're at 71. We're not quite halfway there because we're at about 0.4 acres that we're mitigating. So you'll see this in our projects. You'll see the county do this as part of the roadway projects. In fact, we're working, a few months ago, the board authorized entering into an agreement with V3 Construction to build a wetland mitigation bank on Forest Preserve property. So other people will be buying credits from us to pay for that wetland mitigation. We'll be able to do that. The county will be able to do that. So we'll be able to keep, our thing is always, we want to keep any impacts. We want to mitigate impacts in Will County. So we want to make sure that our dollars stay here and that our wetlands stay here and that we have a beneficial impact on the county as a whole.
Sherry.
Thanks, Joe. Ralph, I'm sure you've heard this before, but Plum Creek gets blamed a lot in my neck of the woods for contributing to downstream flooding in other counties, and towns. I can't imagine that 0.4 acres would have a significant impact on that flooding, but just because I may get asked questions, do you guys have any information about whether or not that would increase flooding, or is there any mitigation of that particular loss of wetland in the area going on?
So there's really two different issues at play there. There's the wetland, which may or may not be connected to a creek or a stream, and then there's floodplain and floodway. So when we are mitigating a wetland, that's, again, calculated separately. But if we have a floodplain impact, that's done on our property. Okay. So If we say we filled the floodplain, we're going to carve out a space equal to or greater than that on our property to increase, to basically make up for it. Mhm.
Julie?
Thanks, Joe. So Ralph, I know that trail, this particular area is very heavily trafficked with everything from, bikes to walkers to scooters to electric bikes. Most of this is paved, right, from what I can recall. What type of a trail
It's
is?
limestone screenings.
Okay, we're not paving this, are we?
A section of the path is being paved, but this section is limestone screenings.
Okay, so, which is loose versus?
It's
Yeah,
it's very
gravel.
fine gravel.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
A lot of the trails in the northern Naperville area that you might be familiar with are limestone screening. So DuPage County Forest Preserve, that's all their trail systems are limestone screenings.
Yeah, all right, because, heading south to Boughton, that it tends to flood a lot. You've got that area there right over where the road crosses the river. And when we extend that trail there, we are kind of concerned about that flooding in
Yeah.
that area.
So the project that we're constructing here that I was speaking with Treasurer Newquist about is in Plum Creek.
Okay.
And what you're speaking to is on the DuPage River. So that trail on the DuPage River is paved with asphalt, but that's not part of this project.
Okay, I'm just looking at a map, so maybe I opened up the wrong part of the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I see it. It's number 4 and we're still on 3, so.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to get used to these new, what are they? Chromebooks. Thank
Chromebooks,
you.
Right. Yeah, we did complete number 3, so we'll move on to number 4. Award a contract in the amount of $356,434 to Terra Engineering of Chicago for the first phase engineering services for the DuPage River Trail, Weber Road Trail improvements. Motion and second. Do we have a discussion? We could do it either way. Okay. Previous roll? Sure. Added. You haven't voted yet, but we're going to number 4. So.
She's not on the committee.
Oh, you're not on operations, I'm being told. Oh, okay, sorry. Perfect. So first, second, did we have a previous? Previous? And second, thank you. Discussion still open? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion will carry. Okay, number 5, award of contract in the amount of $440,576.98 to Alfred Benish and Company out of Naperville for the third phase construction engineering services for Plum Creek Greenway Trail. Thank you. You got a second? Is there
Previous, I think, Katie.
Katie's previous? Steve, I'll put you down as a second on previous? Okay, perfect. Discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion will carry. Number 6, approval of resolution 2402, authorizing the Forest Preserve District to enter a ComEd recreational lease for construction of the Plum Creek Greenway Trail. Thank you. Discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion will carry. Okay, no need for executive session, no actions to follow. It looks like there are 6 reports provided. First, I'll open it up to staff if anyone wants to add anything or point highlight anything on any of the reports for the commissioners. No? Are there any questions on any of the reports? None? Okay, perfect. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak? Comment by the public? Seeing none. Comments by commissioners? I do have a comment, and I thought maybe this would be a good time to bring it up since most of us are here. Ralph and I had the opportunity to have a conversation about solar farms. It seems like the county has been inundated in projects with solar. And Ralph had noticed one of the projects at the southern part of our county and was looking at the screening and the species that the solar farms are anticipating on putting in to screen the solar farms so we can't see them. And Ralph had noticed that possibly there are some of the bushes and such that may not survive due to certain reasons, location, global warming, whatever. That's a whole different subject. But I thought it may be a good idea to try to bring it to land use at some point and see if we can somehow work with the Forest Preserve and get the Forest Preserve's blessing, because this is what these folks do for a living, to see if they would be happy with these species. So that's a brief introduction, and I asked Ralph if he would just kind of touch on that for a second, and if we have any questions or something after that. But Ralph?
Sure.
Thank you.
So as Chairman Van Dyne had indicated, he and I were having a conversation, and I had just recently reviewed some of the planting specifications for a large solar project or proposal down in that district nearby to and almost adjacent to several of our forest preserves. Forest preserves, which are state nature preserves, the highest quality sites in the state of Illinois, as determined by groups of professionals. We've done a lot of work there. You've spent a lot of money there, approved a lot of contracts, including today, on invasive species management. One of the things that we strive to do, obviously, as we've talked about, is recreate as much as we can the natural communities that would have been here, that would have evolved here. And so when we have projects that are adjacent to us, what I feel is best and what we feel is best is that they mimic those same sorts of ideals and ideas. And so that you would use species in your plantings that would support the native invertebrates, the native mammals, the birds, and so forth, and in effect become part of the solution rather than just being a part of the development. And so in looking at some of those species, I also noted that, some of the plants that are required are not going to live here. We know that. They'll live here for a short while, but just due to the soil conditions in that part of the county, due to the potential that the climate's going to get wackier than it already has, we would see a decline in the species that have been proposed. Not all of them, but some of them. And there's an opportunity to change out, again, not all of them, but some of them, to bring in native species that can support our environment rather than, again, either being neutral or having a negative effect. So what I had suggested was it would be nice if the Forest Preserve could comment solely on that. What's the species composition? What are you trying to plant there? Hey, by the way, that won't really work. We don't want to suggest, densities of plantings or quantity of plantings. That's really up to land use and the county to do. But when it comes to some of the species, we think that it would be better to put things in that belong rather than things that, might have been created in a lab somewhere and grown in a nursery. Again, not saying that they weren't grown somewhere and will live there for a short while, but again, we just think that, there's a way to make this have a net positive.
And yeah, and also we want these plants to live too, because the whole
Right.
purpose of screening is to
Provided the screening, and
Right.
if they die, these guys aren't coming back.
they're not coming back to replant. So that was just an idea that we tossed around. If we can, if anybody has a brief comment about this, we can, discuss it in further detail, probably with land use if Chair is willing. But Judy, good morning.
Good morning. So the land use chair will definitely be willing, because it's a very good thing to do, because a lot of them, what they want to do is put some plants in there and have the sheep come and graze. So sheep would be not native to the area at all,
No,
right?
right.
So I think that's a good perspective, and I'm glad to be hearing it, because what's been happening so far is the solar companies are driving this, right? We wanted them to mow 3 to 5 times. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have sheep now. So then I have to do that, which is, no expense to them, right? Because they just give whoever owns the sheep, they come in, they graze, they don't have to do any mowing, and it's a free for them. So I just can't imagine there's enough sheep to be in all these different properties. So I think that's really good. I would like for sure you to have that conversation, and they often talk with me, and then I know there's one we just had in this week that has already talked to Joe. We'll be talking to Katie tomorrow, and they're looking for that type of input. So I would like all that input to come to us, because we can't make the best decisions without all the information. And that is something that makes sense if we're abutting up to a forest preserve, like the one they just put at Pauling and Route 50, Offner and 50, that should have had that exact same thing, because it's right there by the forest preserve, right? So I would love the forest preserve to get involved, come make a statement at the land use committee or submit it to Frankie, but when you're talking to the committee, now actually most people are here today in this room, so they're hearing that. Sometimes we have to help encourage people to think outside of what's being presented. And with so many new people on the board, it takes time. A lot of people, they have their year in now, so you kind of know you're standing on your own 2 feet, and now you're starting to make decisions otherwise. So I think that's a positive, and bringing that forward would be excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Julie?
Thank you, Joe. Ralph, that's why I reached out to you regarding that solar facility at Goodnow and several other projects that abutted up to our nature preserves. But I believe what we need to do is, we can continue. Every time I get the agenda, I look at the projects, I look at the district, I look to see if we have a forest preserve district nearby. But in order to accomplish this, and this would make our life easier on land use and development, is if our land use department had that process in that, we have to add it to the process where they reach out to you automatically like they do to Soil and Water Conservation District, so you have the ability to review the project and reply. That will create the process we're looking for. And then as board members, we're still going to have the responsibility, though, to look at the agenda and say, oh, hey, Will County Forest Preserve didn't reply. Is there a reason why? Or maybe they overlooked it. But the part here we need to do is we need to tell the land use department that we want this as part of their procedure to reach out to you and notify you and ask for your input. So it's 2 steps. It's not just the county board. It needs to start in land use with them notifying you and giving you the opportunity to review before it comes to our committee.
And Julie, that's kind of why I brought it up. And I'm not saying that I come up with this idea, but it's something that my goal was to make it automatic, if it's the will of the commissioners or the county board members, to make it, make it part of our system to where the Forest Preserve has to give their approval on the species of screening. And
Well, I absolutely support that.
all right. Does anyone else want to mention anything? Meta, good morning.
Hi, I just wanted to make sure, I just had a question about that. I love the idea of us giving them input on the species for sure. I guess I question that we have any ability to legally hold them to specific species, and I just want to make sure we check with our lawyers or our lobbyists who would advise us on that. That's just a question that I have, because I know part of the state law that we're dealing with right now is not making it more restrictive. So I want to make sure we're figuring out how we do this without making it more restrictive under the eyes of the state.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
What I was just given a note, that we are a part of the review of solar farms. So we are part of that specifically in the county. I think it's just one of those issues where, again, I'm looking at, so the Forest Preserve is not attempting to assert anything or insert itself, but just say, we're here, we're all working towards the same goal. If there's something that can be beneficial and that plan can be modified.
Like being supportive.
Yeah.
Right. I understand. I just wanted to make sure.
And then the
Thanks.
species side, absolutely, that's a land use thing.
Dan?
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of people are in favor of this. I know that with Julie being the head of the legislative committee, that this is something probably we're going to work on. And, I certainly would want to help with some sort of legislation that she's putting out. And as far as being restrictive, I don't see how using a native species as an invasive species, how that would restrict the solar field at all. I think it's a good, healthy, careful plan with, a lot of thoughtfulness as to how it's going to blend in with our environment. And I think that I don't think there's any restrictive nature of that suggestion at all. But so hopefully we'll be able to bring something forward. Thanks.
Okay, last comment, please. Judy, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I just wanted to say, the county board is part of a group called ISACO. Do you know ISACO at all?
I know.
It's the Illinois State Association of County Organizations. We have a new wind and solar task force. So I would like you to provide me with a nice email, and I will send that to the chairs, who's Pam Altoff, and Joe McCoy, who's our contact. And we're looking at putting together an amendment of things for the wind and solar. And what I'm hearing, there's lots of thoughts on this, and there's shell bills, a couple shell bills, 2, 3 of them out there. So we're getting some feedback. This is a reasonable thing to ask them. And I think that having your input would be great. And we need to have more input than just, like, I wanted to include the Farm Bureau, Soil and Water, but wasn't even thinking Forest Reserve, so sorry about that. But those are all impacts we have here in the county, and all those should be brought together.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try and see what the best amendment might be for getting some buy-in to making a change to that law, so.
And not only make it Will County, but statewide,
Oh,
which
it
would
is,
be.
it is, that's what, yeah, it is
Right.
statewide. The counties are statewide. We're
Right.
all the way from McHenry down to Tazewell and everything, Sangamon, so yeah.
I'm just saying, if Will County can bring this idea to make it statewide, it would
I've not heard
showcase.
anyone else on the task force talk about other organizations, except Will County. We've spoken about, the different groups in that. So, but I know the different groups are working on it as well. But it's like, okay, we need to stop being islands. We need to become one united front to come up with a thing. So I'm going to look at putting together a group meeting of all the groups and see what we can come up with. So I'll include you, Ralph.
Okay.
All right, great. Well, I do know we have finance coming up and then executive, so I would like to look for a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Second, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Finance is next. Thank you all. I'm gonna leave this pen for Jim. Huh? Oh, well, I set the stage for the next one. We'll see.
I'd like to call the Will County Forest Preserve District Finance Committee meeting to order today at 9:52. Vince, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cover roll call, please.
Ogala. Butler. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Revis. Ortiz is present remotely. Cosa. Richmond.
Here.
Also present is Treasurer Newquist, Vice President Mueller, and President Parker. We have 7. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. First item up is a schedule of bills in the amount of $1,174,999.02. Can I get a motion, please? Can I have a roll call, please?
Ogala. Yes. Butler. Yes. Williams. Yes. Winfrey. Logan. Yes. Revis. Yes. Costa. Yes. Richmond.
Yes.
You have 7.
All right. Sure.
So when I was looking at the bills, and I don't know why I never thought of this before, but I was going through the bills and I noticed that we have, we're paying membership for the different chambers of commerce. Why do we do that? I mean, we're not a business. It's a cost. I don't know what the benefit is to be a member of a chamber of commerce. So I'm just looking for that.
There's a, oh,
No.
yeah, there you go.
No, Miss Chamber of Commerce, I don't want your answer.
Yeah. No, there's a variety of resources that we receive and connections that we can make through the chambers. The other thing is that we want to be supportive in the community. So we're not a member of every Chamber of Commerce, but we are a member of chambers in which we are a stakeholder. You know, we're not a business, I know that, but we do own property in many cases. We run facilities there. We're point of sale. We're doing things at our facilities that a traditional business in their community would. And so, so again, we focus on the chambers in which we're located, but not overall, like we don't
join every chamber, okay.
Yeah, like we're not a member of the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, if there is one. But.
So that helps you meet others. When you attend, you meet the other businesses in the area.
Exactly, and then we try to build bridges.
Relationships,
right.
Right, I
and
understand.
then that kind of helps as we roll out our sponsorships too.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay. Next up is approval of minutes. Looking for a motion for the finance minutes from January 4th, 2024.
Second.
Oh, discussion? Dan?
Yeah, I was just looking at these minutes and I was just wondering, I didn't see my name on there.
It's an invisible ink. So just, if we make that correction, if it's,
The copy I have, it has, yeah. Under roll call, C?
Shows you in votes as well.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dan. It's all right. So we had, okay, previous roll then?
Previous, Revis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is new business, award of a contract. Sorry? Oh, old business, there is none, so, all right, I apologize. New business award of contract in the amount of $243,354.60 to AI Warren Oil Company, Inc. of Hammond, Indiana, for the 2024 vehicle fuel contract. And I would like to have some discussion on this after we get it on the floor, so.
Second.
Okay. So I had a conversation with Ralph the other day. We were looking at the bids and the bid packets and that. And what I want to do is turn it over to Ralph to kind of explain our conversation, and then to Brian regarding the procurement process. And then this way we can present the information to you as a board, so, or as a committee. So, fair enough, Ralph? Okay.
So as Chairman Richmond had indicated, he and I had a conversation about this the other day. You'll notice if you had an opportunity to review your bid packet that there was a lower bid than this amount from Al Warren Company at about $206,000, a difference of about $37,000. Unfortunately, that bidder did not include a bid security with his bid, and therefore, we as staff do not have authority to accept that bid. So we would not make a recommendation that that's an acceptable bid because you didn't follow all the rules and dot all the i's and include all the information. So as a staff, again, we would make a recommendation to the next qualified or the lowest qualified bidder, in this case defining qualified as one who followed all the rules, submitted all the things, filled out all the lines. There are, however, times when the board has overridden staff and made a decision to direct staff in a different direction and to then award the project to a different bidder. In some cases, it's the low bidder and the board wants us to go with the next highest bidder because they've determined that that lowest bidder does not meet the qualifications as set forth. So it can go both ways. The board has the authority to waive any informality in the bidding process and to accept or reject any bid that they want. The fact is, or what you are bound to do is just have an open and transparent bid process, which is done. I'm going to turn it over to Brian so he can talk about maybe some options for you to consider.
Well, thanks, Ralph. Ralph said everything I was going to say.
Oh, good. Then we're done.
Just so everybody knows, this body passed ordinance number 625. It's a procurement ordinance. It's 29 pages. It's absolutely thrilling reading if you want to take a look at it sometime. I'm just going to address the ones that speak to this topic where you have to go to a public bid. And one of the things that the ordinance requires is that when someone submits a bid, they're required to submit a bid deposit, payment, and performance bonds. It says will be required. The next provision says awards are to be made to the lowest responsible bidder complying with the terms and conditions of the invitation for bids, request for proposals, or request for quotes. So in this instance, a bid bond was required, but it was not submitted. So that means staff has they have no discretion to say, oh, well, we can accept it anyway. That's not their call because the ordinance says they have to look for those things. If it's not provided, it gets rejected. So be aware of that. I'm not suggesting you give them discretion, but that's where the board comes into play. The board makes a decision, not this committee. The committee makes a recommendation to the board. And what the board can do is they can, as Ralph explained, accept the bid. They can reject the bids. They can waive any deficiencies if they feel if the board feels it's appropriate. So you have a lot of options. So today you can accept the recommendation of staff and award the bid as it's noted on your agenda. You can reject that motion or vote that motion down and then you can make a motion to waive the deficiency by the lowest bidder and accept that bid. You can require the lowest bidder to comply and provide a bid bond, and if they do that, maybe accept the bid. Or you can say, look, there's a problem here. We're not happy with how it worked out. Let's rebid the whole thing and make sure everybody does what they need to do and just go through it again. Personally, that would be my recommendation to the board because it avoids issues of somebody maybe filing an objection. So hope that answers your questions, but if you want to know the sections of the procurement ordinance, I'm happy to give them to you. So I don't know.
Julie had a question.
Thank you, Jim. So Ralph, can you define what the bid bond is? Does that guarantee that the price remains what they quoted us and doesn't go up? And then also, did you have any follow-up conversation with them, or did they comment as to why they didn't submit it?
So the bid bond essentially does just what you said, and it guarantees that contractor's price for 60 days. And why the 60-day period? That's typically the amount of time it takes to get from the bid opening to a signed contract. In between there is this committee and the board. And so, we meet 1 month, you give us permission the next month. So it's a matter of timing and that 60-day period. That's what that guarantee is for. If for some reason they pulled out or they said, hey, my price is different now or whatever, you as a board have the authority and you are certainly allowed to keep that bid guarantee. So you could have kept the cashier's check and cashed it, or went to the bond company and called the bond. So that's what the bid bond is there for. It's a guarantee. As far as conversations with this individual, he was at the bid opening. He was aware that the bid bond was not included, and he indicated that he could have it couriered over. But again, transparency, fair is fair.
And one other, I'm just going to add one other piece to our conversation is you did indicate that all three of these were qualified bidders.
Yeah,
they're in this industry.
They're in this industry, right, exactly.
So I saw a couple of microphones and hands. I think, Dan, you had yours up first. And
So as a contractor, I've had to, apply for different things, and a lot of times villages will require, bonds. I'm just wondering, as part of your process, do you not, like, when you take in the paperwork, make sure that all the paperwork is there before it's presented as a bid? Or is there any, mechanism inside your office to make sure that the package is complete, and then, maybe give a call to say, hey, if you don't give this, your package is not complete, you won't be, considered for a bid if you don't give this bid? I'm just wondering if that's something you do.
We can do that during a quote process. During a bidding process, it's a sealed bid so that there is no, there can't be, I guess, any accusation that we were playing favorites or working with an individual or somehow engaged in some bid manipulation.
Okay.
So that's why we require a sealed bid. You have to do, or the contractor has to.
I get it. So I guess just my opinion to the rest of the members is, having that policy to make sure the paperwork is complete should be applied to every single bidder, okay, regardless, so that there is no favoritism or showing that. And secondly, I'd say in a situation where you're supplying a material such as fuel, I don't think that we should, overlook the fact that we're talking about $200,000. And if it was a service, I could definitely see it would be different. But I'm pretty sure the fuel from this guy is going to be the same as the fuel from the next guy. So just something I wanted everyone to consider. Thank you.
was there any other questions? I know, Julie, you had your hand up. Or
Yeah, I just wanted, Ralph, you made a comment
We did not, we told them we would not accept it. So, yeah, so there was an offer and a decline by us.
Yes, Al?
Thank you. That partly answered my question, Julie. I mean, there's a $40,000 difference here, and, you know, I agree with Dan, you know, the gas is the gas that we're going to get out of this, whichever contract we go with. If the bid opened on January 22nd, then there's 60 days from January 22nd, right? So we really have until March. What is the reason for declining the submission of the bid? Was it an internal deadline that was provided to the bidders?
For us, for our recommendation to
Yes.
staff, no, just he didn't follow all of the requirements of the bid. So the bid, what the bid must contain is laid out in your policy. So if he can't meet, if they do not meet the policy,
Right.
then we cannot accept.
And I understand that, and as a rule follower, sure, like, let's, you know, but for me, the question is there an internal deadline? Like, is there still an opportunity for the bidder, this Arneson Oil, to submit the bid security?
There would be, yes. So there would be, you know, one of the options that the group could have or that the board could take is to direct staff to attempt to obtain this bid security. And if we can obtain that bid security, then we would then make the recommendation, okay, we've got the bid security in hand, the contractor is honoring the price that they included in the bid, you know, you can make your decision now. If for some reason we went and said, hey, bidder, we want you to, you know, provide this bid security now, and they declined, of course, then you have another decision. Or if they said, well, I can't really do it for that 206 anymore, but I could do it for 216, you know, and they start negotiating, no,
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that
Yeah.
either, but I am open to a little bit more time, and, you know, would be open to rejecting with that kind of process that you laid out.
If I may, Commissioner
Yes.
Costa, just so you know, staff doesn't have that discretion. So
The
you asked
board does,
internally if there was a
right?
deadline. They don't have that. That's
Okay.
why it's here now. The board, your committee, the board does, but not staff, just so that's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so, and Vince, I'll get to you, you're not on the committee, so you'll be last if you don't mind. So, he is on the committee? Oh, I apologize. I was given some bad information.
Just like Dan, I looked at the wrong committee. I apologize.
So I apologize, Vince. All right, so that's kind of how this all transpired, is I asked Ralph about this, and I figured it would be a good, healthy conversation for us to have in regards to matters, you know, same or similar to this in the future. So I think we're at, everybody?
Yeah, I'm not on the committee either.
All right, so I can go to Vince then, and then I'll come back to you ladies.
So I've been on the committee now, so that's cool.
Okay.
So,
Congratulations.
thank you. So I listened to what Brian said, and I would probably like to make a motion just to rebid due to irregularities.
There's a pending motion that we'll have to deal with.
Can we table
first,
that motion?
But, I mean, well, thank you. I wouldn't table the motion. So the motion has been made to award the contract, because that's what the agenda says. That's been seconded. So the proper procedure would be to just vote on that. If you vote yes, you're voting to accept the staff recommendation and take the Al Warren Oil contract. If you want to not do that and pursue some other action, then you should vote no on
Yeah, because if
the
we can
motion.
save $37,000, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, sorry. All right, so you, Meta and Sherry, you figure out who wants to go first.
So my concern would be if we did allow them more time, or if we let them come back, you know, with a bond. If I'm one of the other bidders and I followed the rules and they didn't, and this is an open bid process, I'm gonna have a major problem with that. So that's my concern about going that route.
Yep.
I was going to ask, was there extenuating circumstances for this person that they couldn't submit this, or did they simply just not submit a complete packet? I mean, my point is that like other people here, I've submitted a bajillion of these packets in my lifetime, and if I show up and it's not complete, bummer for me. I mean, and I don't mean to be so brutal about it, but there's a reason there's a big checklist, as you said, about what we asked for. And as Sherry pointed out, I hadn't even considered that side of it. If there was an extenuating circumstance, I would definitely want to look at that. But I feel like if this is, there wasn't and they didn't, you said they couldn't. So, I don't know. I struggle with making an exception if there wasn't some sort of circumstance that was beyond their control. And I worry about what it says to the other folks who bid our things in general in the county. That if we don't like or something like that happens, oh, it's okay, we're willing just to start over. That just delays everything. So, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it. Is I'm not in favor really of changing the process without extenuating circumstances. Thanks.
All right. So it looks like, Dan, you're on the committee and you have a question. Then is there anybody else then that wants to, Raquel? All right.
Okay.
And Joe, I apologize.
So I'd just like to clarify, what is the difference from this bidder to the next lowest bidder in dollar amounts?
$37,000.
Okay. So that's $37,000 that the taxpayers have to pay extra if we don't kind of right what I feel is a wrong, which I feel like we should be responsible to make sure the paperwork is complete when we offer it for the bid. I think that it is our responsibility to look through the paperwork and make sure it's, regardless of what you think, as a committee member, I do, so I have no objection to throwing this back because, I mean, let's face it, $37,000 pays for the insect study. It's the same thing. It's money that the people could use for better things, and this is not a service, this is a fuel cost. And it should be the same. I don't even know why it's different, okay? So that's just my opinion. I'm not asking for a rebuttal, I'm just giving you my opinion. I thank you for that answer about the 37,000.
Yeah. I do feel that I do need to just go on record here. I do not want any Forest Preserve staff member reviewing bids prior to an open, sealed bid opening. It just opens us up for so many accusations and so many problems. That information, if I'm reviewing your bid and then the next guy comes in and I go, ooh, geez, look at that, that's, and then I hand it back to him and he changes a number, guess what?
Okay, so are you saying that the bid process, when they hand it in, it's all sealed?
It is.
And you have to open it up?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I understand that, because I wasn't expecting you to, I thought documents had to be submitted, and then they were put into a file so I get it now, okay?
All right. So Raquel, you and Joe flip for whoever. Well, ladies first.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I like your style, Joe.
You know what, Joe? I know why you went after me. I'm just kidding. I'm only joking. Okay, so I just wanted to say we work for the taxpayers, not for the vendors. So it doesn't matter. I'm not here to try to be fair in that regard. I think we obviously want to have a fair bid, but having the taxpayer pay any extra amount of money because we don't, because somebody messed up, or when we have this opportunity to come back again and redo it, it's a missed opportunity for the taxpayer. And I think that's more of a concern. It should be more of a concern for all of us rather than how it appears to to whoever the vendor is that's submitting the request, submitting the proposal. So I'm just asking, as a person who is not on this committee, just for potentially just trying this all over again, giving them another opportunity to, I can't talk today, to submit another proposal so that we can do the best by our citizen taxpayers, that's all.
Okay. Joe?
Thank you, Jim. At first, when I heard about this earlier this morning, I'm not on the finance committee, by the way, but I'm going to lobby to our president to see if that can change. But anyway, that was supposed to be a joke. Anyway, you know, both sides are correct. Like, it's a great opportunity to save the Forest Preserve $37,000. But like Meta had said, that I never considered that, you know, if this vendor cannot follow procedure and not turn in all their stuff, it's, you know, that's kind of your responsibility as a contractor in my mind. So that's a tough decision to make for this committee. However, I just want to note that, you know, Vince's amendment or dissent to rebid, the only thing I want to caution is if I were Arneson Oil at 206, my next bid's going to be $36,000 more to bring it up to 242 to try to win the bid and put more money in my pocket. Or if I'm Al Warren Oil, I could also possibly come down and try to match, you know, the very lowest bidder. So it could work against us if we do send it back. Or, I mean, I think either way it may work against us because the low guy's going to bring it up and the higher guy might bring it down. We're still going to pay more than 206. So that's something to consider. Thank you.
Good information. Vince, and then I think we're done, or? Oh, Judy too then. All right, so Vince, go ahead.
So here's a question for Brian. So if we don't redo the whole bid, can I make a motion to accept Arneson if they provide the proper documentation? Because I know you said you don't, you said you didn't, you said you didn't want to do that, but.
Yes, that's something you could do. That is an option. There could be a motion to.
So maybe that would fulfill everybody.
Right. That's something that and by the way, this is the recommendation of the committee. So if that's what the committee could do that, then the board would decide next week.
Okay.
That answer?
Yeah, so that might be the logical thing to do.
Yeah, so I would not agree with that, because here's the thing, you don't want to look like you're playing favorites, so to make the cleanest cut is if we're not happy, there's a big discrepancy between the highest and lowest bidder, and all scenarios can happen. You don't know what the bid's going to come back as. The numbers will change, I guarantee you that. Hopefully they change to our favor. I don't think they're going to be higher. I don't think anyone's probably going to bid higher, but that could happen as too because prices change. We don't know that. But if we were just going ahead, accept this one as it is, you know, is there favoritism? You could be asked that question, you know. Frankie makes the best cookies, so I'm picking Frankie's cookies over Raquel's cookies or Sherry's cookies for whatever reason. We don't want favoritism, so to me, we can, because there is a large difference in the bid, we can make the decision to go out and bid again. And I don't know if these Aronson Oil has ever bid before with the county. I don't have a clue on that. Not with us. So how that process happened, I don't know. I think one good thing is having the conversation here. If anybody listens or pays attention to anything, that they know we want to get the very best price that we can get. And so I think the best recommendation for me is for us to reject the bid as awarded here, and then make a motion to go out and rebid and let everyone be on the same playing field. You don't know how the numbers are going to go. The lowest bidder, I don't know if they want it. They're probably not going to go up, maybe to 210 if prices change. I don't know. But maybe the prices have gone down and they'll all be lower. I don't know. So to make it clean without looking at favoritism, they're all back in the same game, playing it again. It's not like we haven't done this before. I think that's the best choice. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Mark?
How long would it be before these bids come back then? If we
would essentially start the process over.
So next month?
Next month, March.
March?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Looks like everybody, did you have something to say?
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
So the motion on the floor is to award the contract to Al Warren Oil. So if you vote yes, you're voting to award that contract as it appears on your agenda. If you vote no, you're voting against it. And then after that, you can make a decision if you want to make any other motions.
All right, so we good with that? Can I have a roll call vote then?
Ogala. No. Butler. No. Williams. No. Winfrey. Logan. No. Revis. No. Ortiz. Oh, sorry. Costa. No. Richmond.
No?
We have 7 no's.
Okay, so then now we need to put the other,
Now you can ask if anybody else wants to make a motion.
all right.
Is there any other motion?
Is there any other motions or,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go out and rebid all the contracts go out and rebid for the fuel purchase so that we can all be on the same playing field and hopefully we get us a better price. I'll make that motion.
all right, can I get a second? Can I have a roll call, please?
Ogala.
Yes.
Butler. Williams. Winfrey. Logan. Revis. Costa. Richmond.
Yes,
7 approved.
all right, motion passes. Executive session, no need for executive session. Reports, anybody have any questions on the reports of that? No, seeing none. Next committee meeting will be Thursday, March 7th, immediately following Operations Committee meeting, but no earlier than 9:15 a.m. here at the county office building. Do you have anybody here from the public to comment? Any public comments? Nobody online or anything like that? All right, comments by commissioners? Al, come on, you got your coat on, you might want to say something to us, all right? Bye, all right. Okay, all right. And last thing too is just want to remind everybody that there is also a retirement health insurance trust meeting following this meeting. Annette Parker, Cindy Harn, Sherry Newquist, Diane Jaworski, myself, and Ralph. If you could all just stay in the room, we could maybe get that done right away too. So that's all I see here. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor? All right, meeting adjourned.
Harn. Jaworski. Richmond. Schultz. Secretary Newquist. President Parker. We have 6, we have a quorum. Harn. Jaworski. Richmond. Schultz. Newquist. President Parker. We have 6.
This is on the reports, right? So for the Retiree Health Insurance Trust Fund quarterly income statement as of December 31st, 2023, and Micah pointed this out to me. So our total expenses are, we're over budget, right, by $14,387. If you look under total expenses, it's got annual budget 210, actual 225. So what does that mean exactly? It looks like it's our health, for the majority of it's our health insurance premiums, but there's a negative balance in other professional services / trustee fees. Okay, so do we fund that out of contingency or reserve or? Oh, that makes sense, but it all comes out of the investment, so, okay, thank you.